Oh, hey there! How are you guys doing today? Let's take a quick look at some basic watercolor techniques. First, I need a setup. I have some pre-stretched watercolor paper ready to go. I'll need 2 containers of water, one for cleaning my brush and one for my paint. First, let's look at a wet-on-wet technique. As this name suggests, it is wet paint on wet paper. First, I add some water to the paper, then I go over it with my paint. Notice the way the pigment spreads out in the water, but stays contained in the wet spot. I'll do the same thing, but wet on dry. Even though my paint is thinned down with a lot of water, I still have a lot of control over where my pigment goes. Let's see a wet on dry brush stroke versus a wet on wet brush stroke. The pigment spreads out freely in the wet area. And here it is on a thinner wet line. Notice the differences in each technique. Next, let's try a salt resist. While my paint is still wet, I simply sprinkle some salt into it. This causes movement in the pigment and water, resulting in a textured appearance. After your painting has dried completely, simply brush the salt off. Let's try some masking fluid. Rubber cement will also work. I apply my masking liquid wherever I want the white of the paper to show through. When my paint is completely dry, I simply peel it off. This is great for preserving any small details. Let's take a quick look at mixing colors. I can use a palette to mix my colors, like you see here. Or I can blend them on the paper, wet on wet. Or I can build it up in layers, adding new paint onto dry paint. Last, let's look at a few of the skills combined together. I'll do a wash, half wet on wet, half wet on dry, along with a wax resist, blocked in by my masking tape. Alright, now go test out those basic skills and see where you can apply them in your paintings.